Hi Poli Glow family, it's Len, one of the owners of Poli Glow, and this is our great friend Luis Perez with the Master's Touch. They're mobile detailing business in South Florida in the Vero Beach area. Luis, tell us a little bit about your business, what you guys do, what you cover. Give us your information so people can get in touch with you if they want Poli Glow applied to their boat or RV.
How you doing? My name's Luis Perez. I'm with the Master's Touch Mobile Detailing. We've been in business for over 30 years. We service most of South Florida and accommodate to mainly anywhere. We go up north and we love Poli Glow. That's our stuff.
We're in Vero Beach right now. Luis Perez and his father, Luis Perez, they are strict users of Poli Glow. They do some other ceramics and waxes when it's appropriate or when the customer wants it.
Right.
But for the most part, tell us why you like Poli Glow and how it's different from a wax or a ceramic and why you would prefer to use Poli Glow.
We love Poli Glow for many reasons. It's made for the sun here in Florida. It gets really hot. We have the ocean spray not too far. It works great with fiberglass, and that's all we work around here with.
Yeah. Tell us about how long does it last compared to like the ceramics and the waxes?
A typical wax here in Florida, depends on the condition, will last you about 4 to 5 months on the quality. Sometimes a little more. Ceramic can last longer, but it's also the maintenance, the upkeep, and everything else like that.
Yeah.
Poli Glow will last you roughly 9 to 10. Oh, I've seen it last over a year.
Yeah.
But it's never under 8 months. It's always up and above.
Yeah, so if you put more coats on, you might get a little bit out of it, but usually by a year, especially in these southern states, right? And that's a really good point that you made, Luis, is in the southern states where the heat is really high, the humidity is really high, and the UV index is really high, and it's high for a longer period of time, right? Like you might be in a high temperature zone down here in Florida for 4 or 5 months out of the year, as opposed to 3 months out of the year in a northern state. Your fiberglass, that gel coat is going to take a pounding.
Oh, yeah. It's bacon. It's always bacon.
It's bacon. It's bacon. And then, like you said, the ocean spray. So your waxes can last 4 or 5 months, sometimes a little less, right? You told me about a fiberglass roof that you put a wax on, and after 2 months, the wax was gone.
Yep.
Right. Some of your ceramics can last. I've talked to other detailers who said you can't put a ceramic on an oxidized RV or boat. It just doesn't shine. Right. I don't know if you've found that to be true, but
it's completely true. It's all about prep. Ceramic has to have a completely clean state. If you apply it and there's a single imperfection underneath, it will not work out for you.
Yeah. Poli Glow might be a little bit more forgiving, but at the same time, you still got to do the prep work with Poli Glow, right?
The prep work is so much easier than on machines. No cutting, no powder flying around, no electricity. Anybody could do it. Yeah.
So, and that's another great point that you raise is you don't need electricity. You don't need machines to do this. Now, if you have a very highly oxidized or heavily oxidized unit, like an RV or a boat, you may need to take do a little wet sanding on that, right? Take some further steps, right?
Have to do.
And so that's important. Like, our customers need to know that in a situation like this one where we have much more mild oxidation, you don't need to do quite as much prep work. But in a more heavily oxidized situation, you need to do a little bit more prep work. And you might need to do a little bit of wet sanding. I think you guys prefer wet sanding in a situation like that. Is that true?
When it comes down to it and we need to do a heavily oxidized boat, an RV, mainly the boats, we'll stick with the wet sanding. We get better results. We see it's a finer cut in the end for us.
Yeah, and you have a better feel, right? You have a better feel on the oxidation and on the surface.
Yeah, there's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's a less risk of burning through your clear coat, burning down to straight fiberglass, and once you do that, there's no coming back.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth, right? Because you taught me that actually, Luis, that with some of these machines, you can burn right through the gel coat down to the fiberglass, and then you're
off to the body shop, off to the fiberglass guy.
Right. Let's talk about this unit. One side is worse than the other, which is classic in Florida or anywhere that you really park your RV. One side is going to get hit with the sun more than the other.
Right.
Right. And can you see that on this unit?
Absolutely. Obviously, we got the east side and the west side. It's protected here by some shrubs, but once you get that west sun, that's all open right there, as you can see.
Yeah, so this side is taking more of a beating. So this is a 2017 unit, so it's not really that old, but it's right in the
It's right in the middle of where it needs. Now's the time to take the protection method.
Yeah, is that so? I get a lot of phone calls from people with 2017, 2018 units that are like, you know, my gel coat is faded, it's oxidized, it's lost that shine. It's right in about that 4 or 5 year mark where people are calling saying they're starting to notice that it looks older.
Yeah,
right?
That's when you get into the decision of either you're going to go with wax and you're going to have to be upkeeping, you know, every couple 3 to 4 months, like I said, or you do it one time with the Poli Glow and then you do that mainly like a half a year, you know, a year, and then you just go from there.
Right. One of the things that we had talked about in the past is that with Poli Glow, the maintenance is a little bit easier. So if you put a wax or a ceramic and it becomes oxidized, and every year you got to get out there with your buffer and you got to re-strip everything down. With Poli Glow, you have to do the oxidation removal step, okay, before you apply Poli Glow. The first time you use it, you have to get the surface prepped and cleaned and all the oxidation removed. But then moving forward, you know, because you have Poli Glow on it, and Poli Glow has UV inhibitors on it, you're not going to get oxidation of that gel coat. You're going to oxidize the Poli Glow.
The top layer of the Poli Glow. The top layer of
the Poli Glow, but the gel coat is going to be protected. So then the maintenance moving forward is much easier.
It's much less, yes.
Much less. So you do a little bit of prep work, right? If it's in really good condition, you can use our Poli Wash, clean it, you know, and then reapply 3 to 4 coats of Poli Glow. But sometimes if it does get oxidized, you were telling me that it does need to, the outer layers do need to be removed.
Right.
Right?
So with the wax, you would remove, if you're gonna do wax, you'd have to strip your wax completely because you can't throw wax over old wax. It looks messy, it looks messy.
Yeah.
Poli Glow is different. You can knock off, it goes on layers. So you can knock off the first couple layers, you know, just break them down a little bit. The remaining, you know, the original shell is still there, and then you just go back over, and then you get all your shine right back.
Right.
It's a lot less
So the base layers are still there.
Yes.
Right. And you take off a couple of the top layers, and you would do that with a very diluted form of Poly Prep.
Yes, very diluted form.
But if it doesn't need that and it's in good condition because you've been keeping up with it, then you just wash it and reapply Poli Glow.
Yes.
And you do that for 5-6 years, and then after 5-6 years, you strip the whole thing down.
Yeah, strip it all completely down.
Yeah, and that process is easy
and
also.
That's very easy. Yeah, with the poly strip, it's super easy.
Yeah.
Avoid direct sunlight. Come in with a sprayer, knock it down, a light brush, and you're good to go.
And you're good to go, and you can just start all over again. Okay. So that's the great thing about Poli Glow, what I call the power of Poli Glow. The hard work is done, the first step, and then moving forward, you can almost throw your buffer away.
Yeah,
right?
We do not. We have a simple DA in there, and that's only for, you know, certain small jobs, but Poli Glow is universal. It'll go anywhere, fit in any crevice, you know. You
don't have to take anything apart here. You can get in between all the nooks and crannies.
I have a little mitt. I can get in between every single nook and cranny in there. As my finger fits in there, then Poli Glow will be in there.
Perfect. So let's just say one more thing about this unit here. What's your prep going to be today? How are you going to prep this vehicle? Because is it lightly oxidized? Is it heavily oxidized? And then what are you going to do to prep it?
So this unit's very well taken care of. It has no wax on it. It has no Poli Glow on it right now. So what we're going to do right now is just throw a light diluted version of Poly Prep on there. Just get the area prepped up, and a light scrubbing. As you can see, there's scrubbing and spraying, and that's about it. After that, we're gonna let it dry and start throwing Poli Glow on it.
Awesome.
Also, a great thing about it is once it's wet and the sun will dry it up, I don't have to come back with a chamois and dry it off myself. I'll let it, you know, drip dry. Yeah. If there's a little bit of water, that's fine. Poli Glow is water-based, so I don't have to, you know, make sure it's completely dry. Yeah. If you threw wax and water, it wouldn't mix.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's a really good point. So if you have like water still sheeting down off the roof, you want to be careful about.
Yeah, you'd want to be careful for running streaks, but most of it, I mean, you can catch it, and if there is a little streak, I'll just come back, knock it down, and that'll be that. It's over with.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. This is Luis Perez with the Masters Touch down in Florida. If you guys need anything, what's that phone number again?
Give us a call at 772-473-1569.
Great. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure working with you.
Yes, sir.
For a gloss that's boss.